Men of Reddit, what is the best relationship advice can you give us women? Story 1. Say what you mean. Don't dance around an issue. Don't make it a game. Be direct and just come out with it in a non-asshole-ish way. You could save yourself a lot of time, potential pain, or the escalation of an argument that wasn't even on the table. That's for both sexes. Answer, great advice. I am one of those women who's been sold the idea of putting some effort in to create these amazing romantic moments as a way for a partner to show their love. I don't like them in romantic movies, though. Too saccharine. But any other sort of medium, hell yes. Best bits of any story. My fiancé is a calm realist. His idea of romance is sitting on a couch together, watching a dorky movie with no pants on, and just feeling like he can entirely be comfortable. Now, me wanting hormones and a bit of drama versus his need for comfort. Romantic gestures are not his thing. He would never really think of arranging a cheesy display of love. So we talked, and we have clarified and talked even more. And I have told him how much those mean to me, and I get them, and I keep getting them. Mainly anniversaries, and I'm glad to say that his proposal a couple weeks ago was wonderful, but I had to tell him, can't just expect him to know and be pissed he did not. Talking about enjoying the effort and rush of a surprise doesn't take away from the experience, because it ensures that there will even be one. Story 2. If you want to be with someone else, dump your partner. Don't pull that bullshit where you play the field while having a partner who you're keeping on the back burner if things don't work with your new crush. And sure as hell don't string your partner along waiting for the perfect moment to break up with them while you're fudge around with someone new. The best time to break up with your partner when you don't want to be with them, especially if you want to be with someone new, is immediately rip off the Band-Aid and get it over with. Maybe they'll be mad or upset, but they're going to find out if you lie to them about just wanting to be single for a while when you're putting up pics with you and new boo a couple weeks later on social media, and that fudge hurts way more than if you just be honest in the first place. If you want to be with your current partner, don't be fudge around with Mr. He's just a friend, because you're not as slick as you think, and that's emotional cheating. Story 3. People change for their own reasons. Don't get into a relationship with someone hoping he will change. Unless he wants to, it won't happen. Remember that love is a choice, not a feeling. Someone who loves you is going to treat you in such a way that you feel loved. Answer, after 5 years of marriage, my wife asked me when I was going to quit smoking. I asked her if she remembered our wedding day, just before we walked down the aisle, if there was anything about me she wanted me to change. And she said, no, dear, I love you just the way you are. And then she looked at me and said, that's when I thought I could change you. Story 4. Probably my top advice for anyone in a relationship: do not play relationship games. Just say what you want. Don't make the other person guess. Don't make them try to win you over. Don't play the silent game where they have to guess what they did wrong or guess how to fix things. And don't loyalty test them or whatever crap. If trust is lacking, tests won't fix them. Communication and trust will. If that doesn't work, tests certainly won't. Just say what you want. If the other person genuinely doesn't know and is trying, that's okay. Don't make it unnecessarily hard on them. Answer, I definitely agree that communication is important, but sometimes your partner just needs to suss things out too. Like if you're lying on the floor bleeding, maybe they should help you even if you don't ask for it. That goes for emotional health as well. Here's what I'd say to my partner if he told me, just tell me what you want. I know you're not a mind reader, and I don't expect you to anticipate my every need, but sometimes I want to be taken care of without spelling out exactly what that means. I actually spend a good chunk of time and effort doing little things to make your life nicer. Remember last weekend when I picked up a 12-pack of your favorite beer? You're important to me. I pay attention to you and notice when maybe I can brighten your day a bit. I want to feel like you're doing the same thing for me. I know you love me, and I want you to show me that occasionally without me asking you to. Story 5. Try to make it clear up front if you want him to find what's wrong with your outfit or just give compliments when you ask how an outfit looks. The assumption is you just want a compliment, but if you actually want a second set of eyes in case you missed something, we need to know that. Answer, I've never really bothered with the compliment thing. What I do tend to do is if she has an outfit that doesn't look good, I go and find something that will. Is that shirt a bad color for her? I bet there's one that is a good color. Give me a minute or two. Those pants don't look good? I'll go find something lighter or darker to go with the top. Bad fit? I'll go find a size up down. Taking an active role, at least for me, tends to be helpful in my relationship, and I suspect it would make the situation a lot easier for both parties in most relationships. Basically, instead of being bored waiting for your girl to pick outfits and try them on, keep an eye out for ones that might look nice or styles they might like. Make it something you're doing toger, and it's a lot less of a slog. Story 6. When you are with your SO, put the Fing phone down. Nothing gets to me more than having a set time to be together and her constantly checking texts, FB, Instagram. When I am with my SO, my phone is on silent and stays in my pocket so I can be focused and engaged with her. Story 7. If you go into a relationship with a list of things he does wrong, but you want to fix in him, neither of you will be happy. People can make small, incremental adjustments and concessions, but most people don't make sweeping changes to their personality and habits for the sake of another person. You have every right to break up with a guy who makes you unhappy. He has every right to break up because living with a constant reminder of what he isn't doing right is miserable. Both of these things can be concurrently true about people who are in a relationship together. Story 8. Most character traits that a guy has aren't going away. People change throughout the course of a relationship, but fundamentally core behaviors and beliefs won't budge. If you see a habit or trend you have to put up with that bothers you, ask yourself if you can put up with it forever. Relationships will have sacrifices, but don't assume you're willing to sacrifice your happiness forever to tolerate something, and don't assume they'll sacrifice theirs for you. Answer. My mom told him this years ago that in love or friendship, everyone has traits, quirks, habits that irk you about them, and traits of your own that are annoying to another person. So once you know a person well enough to identify those things, you need to decide if they are should be deal breakers, controlling or possessive behaviors, as well as the things that you or they just can't overlook, even if they aren't unhealthy or dysfunctional per se. If what you like and admire about the other is enough to accept the annoying parts of them too, and vice versa, then it's a relationship worth cultivating. Also, if you can't come up with any negatives, then either you are still in the honeymoon phase or you aren't being honest with yourself, so don't make any big decisions with that person until you can. Story 9. If you like a guy, not even head over heels, just if you appreciate being around them, just tell them. We don't ever really get compliments like this, so we often hold on to the ones we get for months, even years. Tell your friends you love them and care about them. It might mean nothing to you, but it means the world to us. Story 10. If you see a dude you like, go for it. I dislike the whole only the man asks because that's the masculine thing to do. Nothing is hotter than a strong jerk woman who sees what she wants and takes it. Just call me Ron Swanson because powerful women are awesome to me. Story 11. We enjoy a comfortable silence. Not every moment need be filled with meaningless talk. That may not be a general thing, as silences can be awkward for some. Speaking for myself, though, two people can enjoy one and other's company in silence. Also, don't neglect the balls. Story 12. Be friends. Like besides the bedroom and looks and finances and help. Both men and women can live with someone who is not a friend for reasons outlined above and other. But that'll end and you'll dislike each other if you don't manage to become friends. Answer. This is my go-to relationship advice. I live by this advice. I don't even mean it in a you have to be friends for a but before you start dating way. I just mean you have to actually be friends with SO. I see so many couples that are together get all lovey-dovey with each other, but when I stand back and study them for a bit, I'm like, why are they together? They don't even seem like friends. It's kind of a hard concept to put into words, but it always worked for me, I guess. Story 13. Make your SO feel sexy, loved, and wanted. If you consistently reject his advances or never make any of your own, it can seriously harm his self-confidence. I'm not saying to always have intimacy every time he wants, but make an effort to accept his advances some of the time. Don't schedule intimacy either. It will feel like pity intimacy as well. Men get almost no positive attention outside of their SO, so please give it to them. They deserve it. Give them compliments and constantly flirt with them. They will absolutely love you for it. If you're a woman who's interested in a guy and you know he's single, don't be afraid to ask him out. Men worth your time respect the hell out of women who work up the nerve to ask them out. They won't ever be offended or disgusted with you. They might even find you more attractive if you make the first move. Answer. They won't ever be offended if disgusted with you. Go say that to my middle school crush. I don't disagree overall. Strive to take a chance. You can learn to survive it. And if the guy is a jerk, it says more about them and their ability to empathize than you, etc. But don't assume all women are of the category where they can make advances and single guys are never offended or disgusted by them. Story 14. If you start seeing someone and they start contacting you way too much and want to see you every single day right off the bat, just move on. They probably have codependency issues. Had a friend who did this, and every time he would throw himself totally into the relationship, it would last a month, and then it was like the world have ended, until he met someone else a week later and did the same shoot. I stopped hanging out with him. Answer: this was me when I was younger, constantly needing someone else's approval. It led me into a pretty nasty rabbit hole. I barely came out of it. Now that I've been nearly 5 years without a relationship, each say I've developed a sense of self, a bit of emotional maturity, and independence. Though I wonder if it's too late to meet others now that I've finished college. Either way, I probably won't go out of my way to find a relationship. Story 15. The best advice I can give is don't be friends with an EX or someone you rejected. You're absolutely not doing them a favor. You're not letting them down easy. You're dangling a dream in front of someone who will never get it. Cut contact and leave. You're turning a broken heart into a festering one. Also, if someone is threatening self-harm, which I hear a lot of girls experience, if you cut contact, tell someone, your friends, your parents, their parents, authorities, anyone. This is a very disgusting way of manipulation, and it can really mess you up. Talk about it and get help. Answer: the exception is if you have kids together. Then work on being, if not friends, at least polite and caring as you would to a work client. I've been fortunate in that my ex and I, after a few months apart, became friends. We don't talk about intimate things anymore, but we do share our lives on some level, mostly around the kids, but other things sometimes. Her new husband used to think it was weird how well we got along. Now he's cool with it because he knows there's no threat, and it really reduces parenting stress when you get along with the other parent. Story 16. Why do people love dogs? Seriously, why? They don't do much. They don't work. They don't do our taxes. They poop and don't even clean up after themselves. The only thing dogs do is provide affection. That's the answer. The secret to winning affection is to give it. All men want, all people want, is to be wanted. Do what dogs do and be excited. Be happy to be near us, and we will race around the earth to steal you the sun. Story 17. Many men don't get the attention from women that women get from men. We're expected to give flowers, arrange a date, initiate romantic evenings, etc. Maybe not the flowers, but how about taking him out to dinner or a surprise date doing something he likes? Plan a romantic evening that centers on him instead of you. In other words, let us know you like us with more than just words. Story 18. I'm a woman, but if you have an issue with him, just fudge tell him. Stop dancing around and expecting him to know. He probably doesn't even know he pissed you off. He's not a mind reader. The sooner you actually speak up, then the sooner the issue is resolved. I see this in relationships around me all the time, and communication is such a basic, trivial aspect that so few people seem to make an attempt at. Also, like, be a bro and hug him. Guys tend to be starved of physical intimacy, yo. Story 19. If there is a big issue you're having arguments about with your partner, it sometimes helps to give it a rest and come back to it later. I guarantee that in that time, both will continue to think and come to terms with what's been said so that upon restarting, it'll go much better. It's just not nice to constantly clash over the same thing, nonstop. And just because it's not actively talked about doesn't mean we don't know it's there. There is no need to constantly bring it up and bash it in. Story 20. Kindness and good personal hygiene go a long way toward making a relationship work. Also, men are tested enough in their lives by family, employers, schools, other guys, and society in general. Don't add to this by conducting tests of your own. There is nothing worse than coming home to a test after a long day at work. Story 21. I liked Bill Burr's advice. The best moment he had was when his GF made him a sandwich and gave him a beer, said nothing, and walked away. My wife came upstairs, handed me a cold beer, gave me a kiss, and walked back down. It was the best. After I finished it, I immediately went down and spent a good 2 HRs watching Housewives with her lol. Answer: I do this all the time. It's my favorite thing to do. If I'm baking cookies, I'll plate a couple of fresh ones just from the oven, pour a cup of coffee, and just go put it on his desk while he's playing computer games. I don't say anything. Or I'll peek in to see if he has a drink. If not, I'll pour him a drink and take it in. I just like taking care of him, but he does similar things for me too. Story 22. Understand that you also have to earn our trust. In all of my relationships, there's so much emphasis on the guy earning trust from the girl, which is completely valid, but there's little understanding that it goes both ways. I also have had bad experiences that close me off, and you shouldn't take it personally. Story 23. Don't get angry at your boyfriend for having emotions. Men don't want intimacy. 247, and a lot of us aren't promiscuous. Romance isn't transactional. Romance is not a valid place to obtain money, and it's the first long-term issue I try to erase. You don't necessarily become a good partner because you have a career. Don't act like Tommy Lauren. Don't pressure strangers to have feelings for you. It's a personal problem I have with overly aggressive strangers. Don't spread rumors about people. If you have a problem with your boyfriend, Talk to him first, not your gossiping girlfriends. Don't use dating as a substitute for therapy. Don't try to groom men into your perfect boyfriends. People change for their own reasons. Leave misandrist attitude out of dating. Be consistent and don't date any of us if you basically have "I dislike all men" in your dating bio. Story 24. If asked a straight question, give a straight answer. Are you hungry? Weigh in. Do you want to get dinner? Weigh in. What would you like to eat? If you don't know, ask, what are my options? Instead of, I don't know. If you tell him you pick, don't complain about his choice. Guys, the same goes for you. If you give the decision, you have waived your vote. Try not to pick places they dislike, cause you like them. Bonus points if you choose a place they love and you do not. Best bet is pick a place you both like. Story 25. It seems fairly common for women, men also guilty, of trying to worm their way into a guy's life as a strategy to move things forward. Most guys seem to strongly dislike this. It can be very manipulative and can seem to indicate we'll lose a lot of freedom if we move forward. See also, being very entitled to his time, especially if you just want us to be present while you watch TV. Bonus negative points for being on your phone while you want us around. The more you can keep yourself content without our effort and time, the more attractive the relationship is. Story 26. 9 out of 10 times when you ask, what are you thinking about? And we answer something akin to how much I love you. What we really mean is we were thinking of something so random that it makes more sense to just say that instead of explaining for an hour about why Aquaman's ability to control whales shouldn't work, or possibilities as to why hearing your favorite song play on the radio is much more satisfying to listening directly from your iPod. We aren't thinking about your friend Jennifer. We aren't thinking about the weight you gained. We are literally just thinking about random bits of info that pop into our head that makes us question reality, and we want to spare you from an explanation that could take the better part of the afternoon. Answer. TBH, the how much I love you answer is very dangerous. Most often we know that it is not sincere, so we tend to be suspicious. We would think that you're either hiding something or you're only saying that to get something. Women are overthinkers, and that answer could make us connect anything from AZ. Have you tried sharing your weird or spontaneous thoughts to your SO? Because I think it would lead to a fun discussion, for me at least. Story 27. Don't know if this has been said already, but most of us aren't used to being emotionally available, so we may not open up, and when we do, it may all flood out. So if you do want your man to be emotionally open, try to make it so that it's a manageable, controlled flow, rather than opening the floodgates all the way. Sorry for the weird analogy. Story 28. If a guy opens up to you about something, never ridicule or mock his feelings. He probably has very few people he can be vulnerable with, and getting that rejection from a romantic partner is a huge blow. He's showing you he trusts you. He's showing you his humanity. Listen, hold him, empathize. Story 29. Lots of women talk about how much they like affection. Newsflash, men don't just like giving affection, they also like receiving it. If you notice that your man is going in for most of the hugs, then try doing a few yourself. Another thing, women are used to getting compliments. For a woman, a compliment won't mean much, because usually they get a lot. However, for a man, a compliment won't go in one ear out the other. For example, 5 or 6 years ago, I got a compliment from a woman on my haircut. That haircut is still on my head today. That's how powerful a compliment can be to a dude. A good word of thumb is that if you like something, excluding penetration, he probably does too. Story 30. Whatever's on your mind and is eating away at you, please state it. If you don't and let it eat away at you, and you bring it up during an argument later on down the line, you may end up getting shouted at and quite possibly exacerbate the matter. As well as that, you achieve absolutely nothing by staying silent. Story 31. Men in our culture have typically been taught to tank, whereas women have typically been taught to dodge. You can apply this to a vast range of topics, but the first and foremost is interpersonal conflict. We are taught that if we want something, we should say the thing that we want directly and out loud. Could you get me X, please? I dislike it when you do Y. Please do Z instead. If the person we're asking doesn't want to, they'll say no, or perhaps something stronger. We expect them to have the emotional resilience to weather this conflict and lay down their own boundaries, and we are expected to cope with that in turn. Women, on the other hand, are typically taught to avoid conflict, to give people wiggle room, to avoid direct requests and direct refusals. They're taught to hint and use indirect speech to conceal their intent, letting the other person passively refuse by failing to pick up on the hint if they don't want to do it. So when these two interaction styles collide, we have a problem. Hand in hand with say the thing you want is the idea that concealed intent is deeply suspicious, because the only reason to conceal it from our POV would be to blindside an opponent. It feels sneaky and manipulative and dirty tricksy, and we nope the fudge out. There's no way in hell we're picking up what feels like bait in a trap, and we're extremely dismayed that, from our POV, you feel the need to win by cheating. Now there's lots that's fudge up with prescriptive gender norms, and we really need to stop forcing people down one path or the other based entirely on their personal plumbing. There needs to be more bleed over, so people don't have to be 100 in one camp or the other without getting called out on it, and which camp you're in should have nothing to do with gender. But I will say that this is what you likely are going to be dealing with in most cases, so you really should be aware of it. And I've yet to hear of a relationship counselor telling a couple that their communication was too open, clear, and unambiguous. As I see it, camaraderie, rapport, and goodwill render minor conflicts harmless. You should be able to butt heads and bicker occasionally without stuff getting damaged, like siblings do. You don't need to dance around your seb's feelings. You just get in there and poke them as required. Because at the end of the day, you know deep down to the bone that you've got each other's backs. And yelling at them because they drank all the milk isn't going to change that. I see that as relationship goals with a romantic partner too. Story 32. I used to work as a courtroom interpreter for couples getting divorced. This advice goes for everyone. Reflect on what allows you to communicate clearly and in ways that don't leave you and/or your partner exhausted. Don't assume things about your partner if you've never asked for clarification. If they've given no signs that point to what you think, you might be wrong. And even if they do, what you consider a sign might be something that stems from routine and given little to no thought, not them trying to send a message. Don't give detailed accounts about your intimacy life to your friends. I don't associate with any men that do this, but I personally know loads of women that do. It's gross and feels like a violation of privacy in the intimacy that you two have shared together, leaving one to feel disrespected in an experience. You'd be amazed at how many relationships fall apart over expectations never properly communicated. I can wax poetic on the topic further, but I think these are key points that I noticed being issues when working. Story 33. Honestly, help us get in touch with our emotions. Many of us are not emotionally literate, and a lot of it has to do with how society wants us to be. Reassure us that we are not weak for showing emotion, or even for crying. Be there, willing to listen and establish that communication. It's invaluable. Story 34. Be critical in your responses and conversations. Do not beat around the bush or say random things, say stuff that keeps the convo interesting. Also, if ever responding to someone over text, never respond with K or same. And the forbidden rule among us all is to never leave someone on read. Story 35. 1. Trust your gut. It's smarter than you think. If something tells you a guy is a tool or is cheating, well. 2. Do things on your own timetable, especially children. Write your own story instead of keeping up with friends or family. 3. Marriage's children will not fix a relationship which has gone stale or isn't working. 4. You are never going to change him. Chances are he's happy the way he is. 5. Do not think you have to stay in an unfulfilling relationship. There is something better out there. As an older, twice-married guy, I've been through it and have listened to numerous of longtime chic friends who've been through it too. Story 36. My buddy's wife has this thing where if she asks him to do something, but he doesn't catch it the first time, doesn't acknowledge it right away, like if he's distracted by something else, she'll play this "what did I ask you to do" game, like she's judging him for not paying attention the first time. All it does is waste time for both of them. So please don't do this. I was cringing because I was standing right there. On that note, also don't make a scene in front of his friends over something that can be talked about later. It's humiliating and usually puts him in a really bad spot mood. Story 37. Tell your man what you really want. For intimacy, pleasure, no holds barred, drink or smoke, plant substance to lower your anxiety beforehand if need be. But do it. After this has been done and fulfilled, then you can get real about darn near anything. No holding back. Story 38. I know I'm late to this one, but in every relationship, there is one person who wants more intimacy or some other show of affection love and one who wants less. Talk it over and meet halfway, or you are both in for a really miserable relationship. The one who wants less of any show of affection holds more power. They can live without it, intimacy, cuddling, kind words, whatever, and the other partner will suffer. This will cause friction and erode the relationship, but it can also be repaired by talking about it and meeting halfway. Story 39. Men communicate differently than women. We talk less and do more, on average 2,000 words a day less. For men, talking is a way to convey information and instructions, and not much else. If you tell us your boss is a jerk, we'll interpret that as an order to punch his teeth out, because that's how we're wired. If you've ever caught your man not listening halfway through your conversation about how your day went, it's not that he doesn't care, but it's because he's sifting through your words to find the instructions. This is also why hints, nudges, looks, cues, and other forms of unspoken communication can easily fly over our heads. We are clueless to what to you may seem obvious, so understand that we can be easily confused, and that confusion can lead to frustration on both ends. It may seem absurd and tedious, but being in a relationship implies developing your own, unique shared language. If you think that having a set of commonly used words is enough, you're very wrong. Story 40. Don't ever make a man feel replaceable, and never give them ultimatums. I am many of my brothers have gladly taken the threat just to spite them. He'll break up with you if you don't yada yada. One time a bro said his lady threatened to leave him, and he started packing her chute. I heard the screaming down the block, dude. Story 41. So my SO and I have an understanding, because men and women have different approaches to problems in general. Men talk about a problem when they want help solving it. Women talk about a problem when they want their feelings validated. When you talk to a guy about a problem, he is going to try and fix it. It's how we are wired. If you don't want that, you need to tell him that. So my SO and I have a system. Hey, can I vent to you for a minute? This means I'm just supposed to listen. Hey, can you help me with a problem? This means I can offer advice. Story 42. Pretend we're idiots. Like, pretend we're 5 years old and don't understand complex thought. I'm not saying we don't, but just pretend we don't. Instead of, I'm cold, try, babe, can you grab me that sweater blanket I like? In that example, we like to feel wanted and providing. Story 43. We don't talk constantly. It doesn't mean we're mad or not happy. We don't pick up on hints or signals. We don't like you trying to fix us. Don't compare us to some imaginary perfect man you want us to be. We are who we are. Appreciate us for that. We dislike it if when you nag us. We want to see you happy, probably more than we want to be happy. So smile and laugh. It will make our day. Don't speak on our behalf. It emasculates us. Compliment us occasionally. Guys rarely receive compliments, so it's incredibly special to us. Blowjobs. Do it. Story 44. Be direct and be harsh when self-criticizing. This goes for both anyways. Also, don't judge based off height, as height is genetic and you can't change that. However, you shouldn't be offended if someone won't date you since you're 6'9", 420 pounds. Not the currency, unfortunately. Story 45. The aspects you like will become the aspects you dislike. X. Having zero consciousness of what day it is. If I change, you will find your love dwindling. I am no longer the person you met. If I don't, you will find life impossible. How do you, the girl woman, plan anything with a person who has no idea what day it is? The fight's within you. Story 46. Reading a lot of the replies here, and I think it comes down to one big thing. Treat your significant other the way you wish to be treated. You wouldn't like it he held your relationship hostage, would you? Then you don't do that as well. You want him to be direct? So should you. You don't want him shopping the market, even if just to get your attention? Definitely don't. If there's anything to you that you find sacred for your man to be conscious of, then you should consider those same types of things to him if you even begin to feel like you are crossing a boundary. Do you dislike when he just shuts down and/or shuts you out during an argument? Goes both ways. This is a big one for me as somebody in a tumultuous relationship. Do you get upset when he hangs out with other girls, even if they are just friends? Probably isn't fair then if you're also predominantly hanging out with just dudes, even if you just don't get along well with other women. A lot of good stuff in this thread, but overall, just treat him the way you would want him to treat you. Sure, men and women's brains are fundamentally different, even down to some of the most simple synapses, but that does not warrant such a disparity in behavior as a function of your gender. People are people, and people need to learn to treat others as they want to be treated. Case closed. Don't move the goalposts. Story 47. We actually have no idea what you're thinking. If you start talking about an abstract topic to express an emotion about something you actually want to say, it short-circuits our brain. Speak in clear short sentence, an average moron would understand. It is something that seems to develop well in older women the longer they're married. Story 48. If you're not in the mood for intimacy, please just say, honey, I'm just not really in the mood right now. It's okay. I won't get upset. I won't be disappointed. It's totally fair, and I totally get it. I know you still love me and think I'm sexy because we have lots of great intimacy when both of us are in the mood. Just please don't sit there ignoring my advances because it makes makes me feel like I'm not doing a good job, or something's wrong, or who knows. It's just a bitter surprise. And please don't try to do it just to make me happy even when you're not enjoying it, because I can tell, and it doesn't make me happy. Story 49. If you go out to enjoy one of your boyfriend's hobbies, interests that isn't your favorite, don't make it about you. Be there to support and enjoy their enjoyment, or don't go. And vice versa, of course. I'd rather fish, insert hobby here, alone than have company that is just complaining. Story 50. Don't waste your time on a shoot, man. A lot of us have a lot of shoot we haven't even started to deal with. And it seems like a lot of us just want a woman to handle all their problems and save them without giving anything back. Know your worth as a woman and don't let men treat you like shoot. It's okay to be single, and you really have no obligation to deal with someone else's issues unless they're actually going to be there for you too. Relationships need to be a two-way street, so keep driving if you see enough one-way signs. Story 51. Give each other breathing space. You don't need to call or check on your spouse every hour to see where they are. Men don't usually get much attention. Small compliments and gifts go such a long way. Being jealous is normal, but don't let it consume you and let it turn into loss of trust. Don't negate or belittle our feelings. Story 52. 1. Guys can be very insecure, oftentimes about the same things you're insecure about. Be supportive and compliment him, and you'll make his whole year. 2. Guys are often perfectly happy doing nothing at all and will consider it quality time. Do nothing once in a while, believe me. It isn't because he's bored with you, it's because he's comfortable enough being himself with you. 3. BMI clear. Honesty and clarity is the best policy, and this goes for everyone. So, if you like him, just tell him. He won't think you're desperate. He'll appreciate that you took initiative. Honestly, sometimes I feel like we're completely socially inept because we can rarely tell when a girl's into us. So if you take the first step, it can really speed things along. 5. Take an interest in what he's interested in, even if you don't understand it or care very much about it, and watch a grown man turn into an overly excited child on Christmas Day, babbling on about their interests. 6. Some guys like small, inexpensive gifts as well. Just shows you thought about him and again will make his day. Hope these help and good luck. Story 53. We like talking as much as you do. As guys, most of the time, we don't have someone we feel comfortable sharing everything with. Please give us as much emotional support as you'd want us to give you. And if you have a guy you like, just tell him. 90 chance he'll be happy to give it a shot. Story 54. Let me answer by stating what I have learned. 1. Communicate what you need and want. Be direct. Be constructive. BTW. This is hard and is something we all have to work on, constantly work on and develop. I did not really understand how important and hard this can be until I had been married well over a decade. 1A. Listen. Sometimes we do not need you to talk, but to listen. 1B. Be forgiving. People mess up when they try to communicate before getting mad. Ask and allow the other person to explain what they mean and also express why what was said was interpreted in a bad way. 2. Be consistent. 3. Be trustworthy. Do not hide things. Do not lie. Do not chat up other people while in a relationship. Act in a way you want to be treated. Really, this is incredibly simple, but there are too many people that cannot understand it. 4. In the beginning of one, express what you need. If you want to be physically exclusive, say it. If you want to be dating exclusively, state it. This seems to solve a lot of problems in the early stages of a relationship. 5. Men have the same emotions as women, but many of us do not know how or when we can express them. Men do break down and cry. Let it happen and be sympathetic. It is not a sign of weakness. And never tell anyone to get over it if they are breaking down. Yes, I have heard that, and I suspect other men have as well. 6. A gentle touch is always nice. Too infrequently, my wife will just gentle rub her fingers on my arm or shoulder. Seriously, this is one of the greatest feelings in the world. 7. Remember you are a team. You are partners. This is especially true with kids. 8. Intimacy. We do not have an owner's manual. We need you to let us know what you like and don't like. Redirect us, instruct us, be direct. Let us know when we are doing things correctly. 9. A compliment once a month goes a long way and is appreciated. 10. Be available and present. 11. Express boundaries, and they apply to both partners. 12. We all mess up. We all have to forgive, but there are also things that cannot be forgotten, so don't do those. Most, if not all of these, apply equally to both partners, which is also important. Edit. The numbers auto-formatted and renumbered themselves. I am too lazy to fix it. Story 55. If you come at us with an issue, our immediate knee-jerk reaction is to give you a solution. Do not expect us to commiserate with you and writhe in emotional agony alongside you. Most of us are problem solvers and will start trying to find a way to resolve and then prevent said issue. Me personally, I take it a step further and put it out there that I'm not one of her girlfriends, nor am I her emotional beating post. I let her know to come to me when she's ready to have a discussion and not just take an emotional dump in my general direction. But I am a bit of a jerk like that. Story 56. I'm not giving up, and it's not that I don't care, but some days after work, I'm too exhausted to play a game to find out what you're mad about. If I've spent all day stressed the fudge out and I come home to the choice of 1, spending my entire evening with you acting pissed off because you won't tell me what you're mad about, go to work even more stressed tomorrow, or 2, I can ignore you until you communicate like an adult, I'm going to choose 2. I'm not the jerk for that. I just came home and told you I was extremely stressed, and you chose to make what could have been a 5-minute conversation hours of anxiety for me. Story 57. We can't read minds, so tell us what you want, how you're feeling. If your best friend's boyfriend is able to read your best friend's mind, I promise you he got lucky. Asking us to make a decision is pointless, especially what food to have. Honestly, we don't care. We know where this is going, and we know how long it's about to take for us to come to a decision. Pick something you know we both like and job done. We can now eat. Intimacy isn't all we want. I mean, sometimes we'd rather just chill out, either with you or without you. Both men and women get this, and it doesn't mean we love you any less. We get just as jealous of other guys as you get of other girls. If something needs fixing, have confidence in us fixing it before you call your dad a handyman. We're trying to impress your dad too. I want to think of more things, but I'm currently waiting for my girlfriend to get ready to go out. It's now been at least 45 minutes that I've been sat ready to walk out the door after she told me to hurry up as I'm taking to long browsing Reddit. I just heard the hairdryer, so going to investigate. Story 58. When we tell you that you look perfect without any makeup, and you don't need to wear it, we are telling you the truth. I personally prefer my girl to be the most natural as possible. You don't need to shave, you don't need to wear makeup or dress perfectly every day. If the guy likes you, he likes you for real, he won't complain about that. Also, don't assume that we know that you don't enjoy some activities or situations. If we know you don't like it, we won't put you in that kind of things. At last, be direct. Tell us what you think the same way you think about it. Don't make us guess what you mean. BC, we aren't mind readers. Story 59. If we like you, we don't care if you didn't have time to properly dress and make up. It is nice, but when we do really like you, we will find you attractive no matter what. You may have to be dressed as in a potato sack covered in mud for us to rise an eyebrow. Story 60. Yes, we have feelings, and yes, sometimes we need to know it's okay to express or talk about them. As others have said, please say what you mean and understand that quality time doesn't mean a Hallmark family activity or date night. It can be a drink in the backyard, watching the news together, or co-napping. Some of us like to be alone to process things, and that's okay. Sometimes that alone time will happen frequently. It's not an attempt to distance ourselves from you, but rather a reflective exercise that may result in us talking to you about something later on. Story 61. Communication is not a one-way street. I don't mean that stupid don't play games dating advice, but real relationships are not perfect Disney stories. They never will be. They take hard work to maintain, and both parties have to be willing to put in that effort. No two people have had the same experiences in life, especially when it comes to men and women. So always keep that in mind when you're arguing each other, because it will happen. Take a deep breath and listen to what your partner is saying, even when it's most difficult. Story 62. Men are hardwired to fix problems. If you're venting about a problem to us just because you want support, say so at the offset. Telling us about problems with no solution is a mild form of torment for guys. It's like working on a Sudoku puzzle only to find out that there is no set of numbers that fits. I'll grin and bear it to support you, but understand not being able to help you other ways is frustrating for us. Story 63. When something bothers one partner but goes unspoken, it becomes a little stone in that partner's shoe. That little stone can eventually become intolerable. It was easily resolvable at the beginning, but now it imperils the relationship. Enduring relationships take work. Like each partner, encouraging the other to speak up right away. Anytime anything bothers you, please share it right away. I won't take offense. I will thank you for trusting me enough to tell me what bothers you. Story 64. Don't expect to be loved the way you want to be loved. This is unreal and honestly a little unfair. A person, such as a man in the case of this question, can only love the way they understand love. E.g., a woman might think a man who answers their every request is an act of love, and possibly so. Maybe a woman dreams of some idea like, I want breakfast in bed, and the man just does it, and that's some sign of love. Or a woman wants to be wooed and have love letters written every day, and that's a sign of love. But a man can love a woman by just doing simple things like helping her with the groceries, cleaning the house they share, and what else they believe is an act of love in their own way. X200B. Of course, you can always discuss and compromise and so forth, but the point being, love isn't something you take from people. Love is something you become and share with others out of choice. X200B. I believe if you view your relationship in such a manner, you will be able to create a true relationship for each other. Otherwise, having these expectations in your mind about what your relationship will look like will ultimately create problems. Or you got some weak jerk simp who bends to your will, and that's not really a healthy relationship either. Or, by the odd chance, you're a perfect match, in which case, good for you both. Story 65. Communication is king. Say what you like, say what you don't like, say your feelings out loud. When something feels good, say that feels good. When something doesn't feel good, say that doesn't feel good. When you're worried about something in the relationship, talk about it, like out loud. Nothing makes a man more comfortable and feel lucky than someone who communicates well. Story 66. Don't make us do all the work to start a conversation. Top comments on women's Tinder. Give me more than hey fellas. Top first message from girls on Bumble. Hey, believe it or not, your personality and brains turn me on too. And a profile that says, just ask, or gives me a 4-letter acronym for a personality quiz that you let someone else define who you are doesn't give me anything to work on or start with of any depth. Don't get upset with the guy if he can't hold a conversation when your response to asking what you're into is just the things I volunteered repeated back. It's nice to share interests, but don't pretend to be my mirror. Show me who you are, please. Story 67. Believe in yourself more. I understand everyone gets down and thinks lower of themselves. Shoot happens to me all the time. But in my experience, when anyone always puts themselves down and calls themselves ugly or says they will never amount to anything, it's a huge turnoff. I only mean when this stuff is constant. Everyone gets down and needs help, but sometimes some people just need to believe in themselves more because there is nothing wrong with them and they're beautiful. Story 68. Accept that there is an inherent imbalance in the mental load for looking after the household, especially when it comes to children and housework. This has happened to me and seems to be a recurring theme with many frustrated women I read about. Their partners can and do help, but it must always be a structured instruction. Any extra tasks which seem obvious will not be completed because they were not explicitly stated as a task. A lot of the time, it is not the physical tiredness of keeping the household together that will get to you. It is the mental load. Men don't mean to be hopeless in helping you with the load. We just are not wired that way. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but I have tried and failed numerous times to keep up. I'm not saying you should accept the load, but just be aware that you have a hell of a fight ahead of you. Story 69. Initiate physical intimacy and intimacy more. Make the first move. Pursue us. Chase us. Make us feel wanted if you really do want us. Be the first to walk up to us in a bar to offer to buy us a drink. Ask us out on dates first more. Be the first one to say I love you. Get down on your knee and be the one who shows the ring to propose. Share half the burden of pursuing intimacy and romance. For us men who absolutely believe in consent and never ever want to impose on, harass, or assault a woman, considering the intimacy politics of our times, it's becoming extremely difficult for us to remain the gender who has to carry all the burden of initiating an intimacy encounter and a romance. Please, please, please make the first move. Story 70. We're secretly sad chivalry is dying and actually enjoy paying for dinner. No, you don't owe us anything afterwards. If you enjoyed it, be honest and tell us. If not, be honest and tell us. If we were raised well and were properly socialized, we can handle rejection gracefully. Story 71. It doesn't have to be a talk. Just say it. Saying things in a genuine and casual, it's not the end of the world and I still like you manner goes a long, long way. There's a very fine line between you saying, tell me what I do that you don't like, and tell me who I should be so that you'll like me. If you want us to be vulnerable, be gentle and sincere. Women seem to latch on to the society says men can't be vulnerable and assume it's nothing that you're doing. Surprise, when you make fun of men, we are less likely to open up. When you shoot on men for making small mistakes, we are less likely to open up. When you snap at us, we are less likely to open up. When you talk about how you're always the victim, we're less likely to open up. Ask yourself what you're doing to show us we can be vulnerable. Then ask yourself what you're doing that tells us we can't be. Same formula goes for men. Story 72. Be honest. Tell us what you think and want. I understand that you want to find a man that understands you and loves you, but there is just no way in fudge hell I can guess what you want to eat if you don't give me any information about it. Whatever I choose, it's just fine. I ask because I want to make you happy. That is why we ask in the first place. I am perfectly well aware that you might choose something I don't like, but I have made my decision to try to make you happy, and I won't meanie or moan or anything like that. I will eat and be content with the fact that it made you happy. This goes for everything else too. Say what it is that you want. I respect what you want, even if I don't necessarily agree with it personally. But I respect that choice, and I will respect you even more by you doing so. I saw this in real life between my sister and her husband. She wasn't direct and said those sweet little lies. She wanted to do things on her own. He always showed up wanting to be close. She said things like, I love having you around. Then she would walk away and do something else. A few minutes later, he showed up again trying to be close to her. And she said, I am so happy you showed interest in this. Then she moved on to the next thing. He was trying to make her happy, but her words didn't match what she wanted. We men can't read minds. We do know you. But if you tell us to keep doing something, we will do it, even if you dislike it and just want to protect our emotions. Fudge that, but be honest so he doesn't do mistakes. All I am left with is a guessing game. You tell me something and I have to guess my way to the correct response. How will this make you happy? At the very best, what you will get is a 50-50 of me either understanding you and me, not understanding you from case to case. Don't be afraid of voicing your own opinion. I won't judge you for it. You can vote for the person I might consider to be the worst candidate. I won't judge you for it because I do care and I do respect you, even though I may not agree with you. Men are easy to understand. Listen to what we say and you have it all figured out. For men dealing with women, it's like walking in a fudge minefield. And by God, if I guess wrong, once I will never hear the end of it. I asked where you wanted to go and eat, and you said you decide, and I choose the closest local pizza place. 20. Fudge years later in an argument, you will bring it up. How the fudge could you think I wanted pizza, you idiot? I told you 2 years prior in very ambiguous words that I might or not want to lose weight, and you choose pizza. How fudge stupid can you be? Story 73. Be there for her. There are certain times when women feel really low, usually due to PMS. Even the smallest incident can be frustrating at such moments. We do not intentionally mean to explode, but we also cannot control it. So at that time, just be calm and be there for her. Story 74. For the love of God, tell us exactly what you want. The whole, well, you didn't do this thing for me that I very, very obscurely asked you to do a week ago is why a mad thing gets so old so quick. My wife tells me right up front what she wants, and I practically get a hard-on from it every time. Story 75. Be patient with us. We men are very dumb. Some of us are so dumb, we do not even know how dumb we really are. Oftentimes, we come across as mean or indifferent or grumpy, while we have zero realization that we come across in such a manner. Most of us haven't received enough real compliments to know what to do when we receive one from someone we like. Sometimes a touch on the shoulder is the most intimate moment a man has had all year. Story 76. I'm very far different from the average man, but I love getting random compliments. If you don't live together, random phone calls just to talk about whatever. Understand men can be emotionally damaged. It was one of my biggest struggles for years because men are supposed to be gruff and tough. Don't be that person. Never underestimate a man's ability to be thinking about nothing when you ask them what they're thinking about. It's either nothing or something so off the wall it would sound stupid to say. My own personal biggest problem, just because someone has a disability, or many, doesn't make them less of a person. I guess that goes for both sides though. Learn about your SO and their strengths and weaknesses. The biggest one, I personally don't believe a relationship should be 50-50. It should be 1,100. Story 77. I've copied this to a sticky note on my phone because I think it's really good advice. Don't stick with him because you're worried he's the one. There is no one person. There's tons, literally millions of people you could have a wonderful life with. All it takes is deciding you aren't going to put up with anyone's crap, leaving, and finding those other people. Story 78. If your significant other works a lot, job, school, entrepreneurship, the number one way to piss him or her off is to complain about it. Chances are they're doing it because they have a vision, not because they just really enjoy being stressed out all day. I've lost track of how many relationships I've ended because I was tired of feeling like the bad guy for working hard to build an awesome life. Story 79. Instead of waiting for us to make the first move, maybe you can make the first move by initiating a conversation or something. What I'm trying to say that you guys sometimes intimidate us without really meaning to, and it makes it hard for us to talk to. Story 80. If every argument you make the man or woman feel like the relationship is on the line, then the relationship is going to be completely dysfunctional. Arguments happen, people disagree. You don't have to be right all the time. Happy wife, happy life. Nah, happy. Happy spouse, happy house. Remember, you won't get your way all the time, so agree to disagree. Sometimes it's okay to be wrong or have a difference in opinion. Story 81. I've been married for 16 years, and the most valuable thing we both do is be 100 transparent. When she asks, does this look nice? I give her the truth. When it doesn't look nice, I give her specific feedback, like untuck the shirt. I also tell her how beautiful I think she is when she's complaining about her thighs or how she feels like a sausage in her pants. Over the years, I've helped her deprogram all the bullshit she's been fed by beauty magazines, TV, and social media. I've shown her how to pose and work different camera angles, as they are a huge part of our perceptions. I supported all of her diets, her expensive personal training sessions, everything. I've explained why weight is not a good metric for measuring health or fitness. It took many years, 3 personal trainers, countless fad diets, and a lot of tears, but we're both a lot more educated on fitness, fashion, and nutrition. We're also much healthier because of it, and she's even working on her NASM personal training certification. On the flip side, she tells me when I'm fudge up. She tells me why she's frustrated, which is usually not something I did, but rather something I did not do. E.g., take out the garbage, wash dishes, pick up the mail, etc. She encourages all my crazy hobbies that I don't necessarily stick with, but spend a stupid amount of money on anyway. My advice for both sexes is simple. Try every day to be a better person. Don't get mad at the truth. Talk and be transparent. Story 82. I haven't been in a relationship, so this might be a little off, but equality. Neither the man or the woman does all the work. Both parties pay for dinner, treat each other like people. No one serves the other. There is no king or queen. If your mate is bossing you around, assert yourself, boy or girl. IDK, that's just my fantasy of an ideal relationship. It's significant others, not one dominant person. Story 83. Directly ask us out, let us know. We don't like your hints, and a lot of guys are most likely going to agree. I'm an introvert at heart and don't enjoy talking to people, let alone explaining my feelings. And if a girl let me know that they liked me, I wouldn't embarrass them or push them away. The stereotypical man is strong, stupid, and only wants the women with the biggest breasts. But men in reality are kind, forgiving, and like people for who they are. You don't have to directly let us know, but don't constantly prod at us either. We aren't evil monsters that prey on women, so we can turn them down. So if you have an interest in a guy, don't hesitate to let them know your feelings. Story 84. Please, for the love of all things, be direct. I cannot tell you how infuriating it is to, for example, ask your partner, hey, you seem upset. Are you okay? With the reply, oh, I'm fine. Are you sure? Yes, I said I'm fine. Okay, WTF. Do you not care about me? Story 85. These 2 C words, communication and compromise. Met my wife at 23. We had a few years where we would just be super irritated with each other quite often. We started to talk things through and make compromises on big things, mainly when to have a kid. Solved a lot of issues. Story 86. Hold yourself to the same standard you hold your boyfriend. If you don't, he will either notice and think you are hypocritical, or not notice and think he's a terrible boyfriend, or at least that you think so. This can also be flipped to apply to how guys should treat their gals. Story 87. Be like good men, not assholes, as equal, and do not think yourselves that you are weaker because you can as strong as a man. Feminism is a great thing, and also do not ever let men tell you that you are weak and that you are worth less than men. I see you as intelligent as men, as equal. Story 88. Good, honest communication is more important than any other attribute of a relationship. There should be great and tough conversations. It makes for a great journey. Find imperfections quick and decide if they are make or break. No one is perfect, so it's unfair to expect perfection. Related to this, men understand this about women. Boys, maybe not so much. Love is not the fuel for a relationship. The relationship is the fuel for your love. It takes constant work to fuel your love, which is really what makes it feel so worth having. This relationship is one of teamwork in making each other better, if the person wants it, of course. Since relationships can fail or end due to tragedy, it's imperative to support each other's growth so neither person feels as if they could not function without the other. This takes on additional meaning when children are involved. Oh, and men only ever think about one one thing: intimacy. Kidding. Story 89. Everything here is in my experience, both in my relationship and after speaking to other men about their relationships. So take it with a grain of salt. It may not apply to you or your partner. One, it's okay to do things by yourself. It's very common to think that you have to do everything with your partner and that you have to speak to each other every day, all day. And that if you don't, it's proof you don't really love them or that you're selfish and rude. It's really not. Sometimes you need time for yourself. I've seen women do that and label it as romantic. It's really not. Also, women, never let a guy do this to you. You also need time to be with yourself. Two, if he is not in the mood for sexy stuff, don't push it. Don't get mad. The same way you sometimes are not in the mood for that, sometimes we aren't either. And it's not because we don't like it or because we don't like you. It happens. Also related to this, sometimes instead of sexy stuff, what we want is to cuddle or just a kiss or something similar. Story 90. I make mistakes. I have bad habits. I'm really hard on myself, and I can be a jerk. I don't think that your love means you condone my shortcomings, and I don't think there's ever a reason for my shortcomings to be excused. I love you, being close to you in every way. Intimacy is risky. You're close enough to see so many more of my mistakes and flaws. I'm vulnerable. You know things about me that others criticize. I am vulnerable. I always give you my best. I'm scared about what would happen if you had to deal with my worst. I'm scared that my worst will push you farther from me faster than my best will pull you close. I'm scared that when I upset you, my face changes, that you see other men who've hurt you and treat me as them. I'm scared of losing your respect. I'm scared of losing your love. I'm scared of losing your trust. I'm scared someday I won't be desirable to you. The fear is real. The fear is everywhere, but it's a reality that hasn't yet happened in a place that doesn't yet exist. You dispel my fears and support me like no one else can, and it'll believe you when you tell me everything is going to be okay when I believe no one else. Please be patient with me. Please love me. Please be with me. Please forgive me. Please encourage me. Please trust me and tell me when it's hard to be honest with me. Please be my partner, my equal. I feel accepted when you give me the permission to make mistakes, real, honest mistakes. I feel humble when you encourage me to make new habits. I feel understood when you tell me to give myself a break if I'm being especially hard on myself. I feel valued when you forgive me for being a jerk and give me positive affirmations. I will have fears regardless, but you turn my fear into hope in impossible ways. Story 91. Be yourself and be confident in who you are. Don't try to measure up to what you think a guy or girl thinks is attractive. You can still get someone's eye by dressing up and going to a party you might normally not go to, because many guys do that too. Do you remember when we met at that party? We haven't been back out since This is true for me, what with COVID. My GF and I haven't been out in a while. Story 92. Get a hobby or a special thing that doesn't involve me. Something you love that makes you happy. We can talk about your thing, but I may never be as interested as you are. This is good. It makes you way more interesting to talk to because it's a life experience you have that I don't. Gives me ideas for sweetheart gifts and lets us each have our own identities. We have together things and we have individual things. You probably like me for something I did that made me more interesting, and same for you. My wife loves The Nightmare Before Christmas, tennis and baseball, adventure games like Myst and The 11th Guest, and crocheting things. I don't like these things much, but I love how much she loves them, and that's how I know all the character names in NBC and half of the music, despite not actually having seen it the whole way through. Story 93. When I take you out to dinner or ice cream and let you know ahead of time that we are going out to eat, I expect you to be hungry and eat with me. Please don't be the girl who only orders a water or an appetizer because you are embarrassed while I stuff my face with a full-course meal. It really turns me off to ever asking you out again. Men like women who can eat. At least this man does. Story 94. Long story short, we don't get hints. If you like,